Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 187 based on novel. So let's start. Ling Qianho's sword energy was peerless. The moment it appeared, sword energy filled the heavens and earth. It charged out like a bolt of lightning and entered the vortex. It chased after the Juan family's ancestor. The vortex immediately collapsed as the sword energy entered it, then the Juan family ancestor let out a muffled groan. At this moment, inside the Juan family's home in the faraway planet Thousand Illusion, the Juan family's ancestor was sitting in room with a huge vortex before him. The vortex seemed to turn solid and then shattered inch by inch. At the moment it completely shattered, a white light wrapped around Liu Mai and brought her back through the vortex. After entering the room, the light threw Liu Mai aside as it had no time to care about her right now. There was a trace of anxiety coming from the light as it quickly rushed back into the Juan family's ancestor's body. The Juan family's ancestor suddenly opened his eyes, revealing a hint of horror within them. Without any hesitation, he raised his right hand, mercilessly slammed it down on the vortex, and softly said, "Shatter." Earlier, his origin soul had left his body and used a spell to cross through space. At first he didn't care about Wang Lin at all. When he stopped Wang Lin's attack, he intended to take Wang Lin's life. However, when he stopped that finger, he clearly felt his power enter Wang Lin's origin soul, but it was destroyed. He could only hurt Wang Lin and not kill him. This surprised him, and at the next moment, he saw the celestial guard puppet. The puppet's yin and yang stage cultivation shocked the Juan family's ancestor greatly. He knew that he was in a very weakened state and that his cultivation had dropped to the yin and yang stage. Although he knew that he could win against the puppet, fighting it would cause his cultivation to drop once more. Also, Wang Lin's origin soul was obviously very strange, which made him worry. If his cultivation hadn't dropped, he wouldn't have worried at all and would have directly killed Wang Lin. Even so, he didn't take Wang Lin's cold words to heart. Even if Wang Lin had the celestial guard puppet, he also had his own backup. This was why he took Liu Mai and quickly left after leaving behind some vicious words. Liu Mai was someone who he had spent a lot of effort on. Aside from what he said to the public, there were also private reasons. He wouldn't allow anyone to kill her before she reached the second step. However, the Juan family's ancestor could have never guessed that Wang Lin would send out a ray of sword energy. At first, he didn't consider it a threat, but when it closed in, the sword energy actually caused the vortex his origin soul was in to collapse. This shocked his heart greatly and made him gasp. If it was merely the vortex shattering, it would have been fine, but the sword energy wasn't damaged at all, and it charged directly at his origin soul. The power of this sword energy made the Juan family's ancestor's scalp go numb. When he sensed its power, he vaguely felt the power of a Nirvana cleanser cultivator. This terrifying aura made him feel aghast in his heart. He didn't dare to confront it and ran away in panic. He used the fastest speed an origin soul could use and brought Liu Mai back through the vortex. Then he immediately returned to his body and tried to break the vortex completely so that the sword energy would be trapped in the void. At this instant, the vortex completely collapsed into specks of dust. The Juan family's ancestor let out a breath of relief, but his expression immediately changed and he cursed in his heart. He suddenly got up, grabbed Liu Mai, and quickly retreated. A ray of golden light suddenly charged out of the vortex at the moment of its collapse. At the moment it appeared, countless rays of sword energy appeared in the secret room. An explosion that shocked the entire planet suddenly echoed across the land. The Juan family's secret room exploded from the pressure of the sword energy and created a shock wave. The shock wave collapsed the buildings in its path and kicked up a dust storm. The Juan family's ancestor charged out of the dust. He was in shock and in a sorry state as he grabbed Liu Mai and escaped. Damn it, how could that new Liu Mai have a ray of sword energy like this? What kind of crazy Nirvana cleanser senior would give sword energy like this to a junior in the first step? This is completely bullying, the Juan family's ancestor cursed in his heart. It wasn't that he couldn't withstand it, but he was in a weakened state and his cultivation had fallen. He was afraid his cultivation would become even more unstable if he tried to withstand that sword energy. After the secret chamber collapsed, the sword energy charged out and headed straight for the Juan family's ancestor. This sword energy contained Ling Qianho's tyrannical domain. At this moment, it was as if the entire heavens and earth were filled with this tyrannical aura. The sword energy grew more powerful, almost reaching the peak of its power. The moment the sword energy appeared, the entire world seemed to pause. This pause made it seem like time had completely stopped. The clouds changed and the wind rewinded. It created a rare scene where the clouds seemed like the receding tide. All of the powerful cultivators on planet Thousand Illusion felt this sword energy, and the sky suddenly darkened. The moment the sword energy appeared, the heavens and earth were filled with sword energy. The domain coming from the sword energy was simply too overbearing. It was as if every other spell in the world had to make way for it and couldn't steal its momentum. This kind of tyranny was the heavens' might. The sword energy flew across the sky in a ray of bright light. It transformed into the sharpest point in the world as it chased after the Juan family's ancestor. The sword energy was too fast. You could dodge, you could flee, but the domain on the sword energy would become even stronger. The tyrannical domain becomes stronger the weaker you are. The Juan family's ancestor's expression was gloomy as he threw Liu Mai backward. His hand formed a seal and there was a flash of white light. His Tao was the 10,000 illusion identitless Tao. It could also put everything in the world in an illusion, but in his hands, it was even more special. The white light shined brightly on his finger as his Tao intent increased like crazy. The Huang family's ancestor activated all the origin energy inside his body to gather in his finger and then mercilessly pointed forward. The burst of white light charged out and collided with Ling Qianho's sword energy. An earth-shattering explosion spread across planet Thousand Illusion. The white light dissipated and the sword energy charged out. It moved like lightning as it entered the Huan family's ancestor's body through his finger. The Huan family's ancestor's body trembled and his expression immediately became pale. The horror in his eyes became even stronger, and now he thought of what the junior had said before. You save her and the Huan family will be wiped out. Earlier, he completely ignored those words, but now they were like thunder exploding in his ears. If that person had this kind of sword energy, he didn't doubt that person's ability to wipe out his Huan family. What made him even more terrified was the thought of how many sword energies like this that person had. If that person has more than 6 rays of that sword energy, then unless I can recover my Nirvana Scryer cultivation, I'll definitely die. That is not the most terrifying part. What is truly terrifying is the owner of the sword energy. To be able to give this kind of sword energy to a junior like this means that they are very close. Maybe even a direct descendant. The Huan family's ancestor's scalp went numb. Even with his mental strength, he couldn't help but feel fear. Although he was the Huan family's ancestor and his cultivation had reached the Nirvana Scryer stage, that just meant that he was even more aware of the terror of a Nirvana cleanser. The second step of cultivation was very different from the first step. In the first step, if one had some heaven-defying treasures or powerful spells, it was possible to challenge someone with higher cultivation level. Although it was rare, it wasn't impossible. In fact, if the magical treasure or spell were used well, one could even directly kill someone with higher cultivation level. However, it was impossible for someone to beat someone else with higher cultivation level at the second step. Every single level was the difference between heaven and earth. No need to speak of the difference between Nirvana Scryer and Nirvana Cleanser. Just the difference between early stage and mid-stage Nirvana Scryer was already a gap that couldn't be crossed. Just the sword energy of a Nirvana Cleanser was able to make him dread so much, so one could see the difference. At this moment, the best choice was to hand over Liu Mai. The Huan family's ancestor looked at Liu Mai, who was filled with loss, and immediately gave up the idea. This person knew Liu Mai, so he must be from the Alliance star system. No matter how strong his master is, without an all-heaven stone, he can't enter this star system unless he has his own transfer array. However, even then, by the time his master gets here, this matter will no longer be between just me and him, it will be a war between 2 star systems. At that time, powerful experts from the Thunder Celestial Hall will come out. After all, once this old man's plan for Liu Mai succeeds, perhaps this old man's cultivation will have reached the Nirvana Cleanser stage too. If not, I should still be able to reach the peak of the late stage of Nirvana Scryer. After making up his mind, the Juan family's ancestor immediately spread out his divine sense across the entire planet. Old friend of the Chen family, Brother Shu, I have a request. On planet Renyun, Wang Lin stared at the collapsed vortex and withdrew his gaze. His gaze landed on the black mist surrounded by the celestial guard. Bursts of tender cries came out from inside the black mist. Every cry was like a sharp sword that stabbed into Wang Lin's heart. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a trace of pain as he looked at the black mist. Whenever the pair of cloudy eyes met Wang Lin's eyes, they would release thick resentment. This is my child. This is my direct descendant in this world. Wang Lin slowly walked into the shadow created by the celestial guard to surround the puppet. He had a hint of softness in his eyes. He hesitated a bit before raising his right hand and reaching into the mist. The resentful spirit didn't hesitate to bite down on Wang Lin's finger. The sharp teeth tore through his skin and the cold, resentful aura immediately entered Wang Lin's body through the wound. Wang Lin didn't withdraw his hand. His eyes were still gentle as he quietly looked at the child that was constantly sucking his blood. It will be all right. Your name is Li. Li is not a good word, so let's change it to Ping. From now on, your name will be Wang Ping. I hope your life will be calm and safe. Unlike mine, the resentful spirit could clearly hear Wang Lin's words, but its eyes were filled with coldness and grief. It continued to bite Wang Lin's finger as if it wanted Wang Lin to feel the 100 years of resentment all at once. Wang Lin looked at the child for a long time and let out a sigh. The resentment that entered his body couldn't affect him. The thunder inside him only needed to sweep his body and it would all be cleared away. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin's left hand formed a seal and countless restrictions appeared around the black mist. As the celestial guard withdrew, the restrictions suddenly shrank. The mist also shrank until it was completely sealed by the restriction. In the end, Wang Lin gently picked up the restriction ball with the child inside and pressed it against his forehead to store it inside the heaven-defying bead. He split a part of his origin soul to be inside the heaven-defying bead to help child continue to dispel the resentment. Wang Lin whispered, when father has dealt with the matter at hand, I'll go into closed-door cultivation and dispel your resentment. Ping, don't you worry. Then his right hand reached out and immediately grabbed the fourth soul. He took out the 1 billion soul flag and threw the soul inside. Teacher Du Tian, disciple has retrieved the power of the fourth soul. The true power of the 1 billion soul flag will appear once more. Wang Lin turned around and his gaze fell on the city in the distance. Wang Lin calmly said, come out. Sun 11 carefully flew out from the city. He had witnessed the battle. Whether it was Liu Mai's vile methods or the arrival of the Juan family's ancestor, it all caused his heart to go into complete chaos. Due to his drop in cultivation, when he faced Wang Lin, his heart was filled with awe and flutter. Sen. Senior. Wang Lin looked at Sun 11. The sword light under his feet was unstable. It was obvious that he was terrified at the moment. Wang Lin let out a sigh. Brother Sun, there is no need to be like this. Sun 11 silently pondered. He took a deep breath and clasped his hands at Wang Lin as he bitterly said, Shu. Brother Shu, the three of us concealed our clones before so that we could drag you into this mess and have you be our scapegoat. I? Wang Lin whispered, forget it, let's not talk about this matter. Are the Ran family's ancestor and carefree San Ren safe right now? Sun 11 quickly said, the Ran family's ancestor made a clone hundreds of years ago. He has already left planet Renyun. I don't know his whereabouts, but I believe he should have no problem. As for Zhao Chuanwen, although he couldn't refine a clone, he has some mysterious spell that splits his origin soul. My guess is that he has long left planet Renyun. Wang Lin pondered a bit and slowly said, since I have received celestial jades from the three of you, I'll do my best. Since I don't know where the two of them are, I'll keep their families safe for a century and ensure the families live on. That way I have at least done my duty. Sun 11 revealed a look of gratitude and said, Brother Shu, I'll thank you on their behalf. Then he hesitated for a bit and said, however, the Juan family. Wang Lin raised his head and looked at the sky. It was as if his gaze could penetrate the stars and see Planet Thousand Illusion. He firmly said, "The Juan family will no longer exist." He wasn't being arrogant or getting ahead of himself. A crazy idea had appeared in his mind. Anyone who dared to stop him from killing Liu Mai must die. Sun Shi's body trembled. He could feel a killing intent brewing inside Wang Lin's body. This killing intent was too powerful, and once it explodes, the heavens and earth will be filled with blood. Sun Shi's cultivation level had lowered too much. At this moment, his heart was trembling, so he immediately lowered his head as he didn't dare to look at Wang Lin. Wang Lin lowered his head to look at Sun 11 and slowly said, "Cultivating below the soul formation stage requires no comprehension. Enough spiritual energy is enough to raise your cultivation level. You've had countless years of cultivation experience from your original body, so you have your own comprehension. I can help you reach the peak of the late stage of nascent soul. As for soul formation and beyond, it will be up to you to break through. That way you still have a chance at reaching the ascendant stage, and even going beyond it might be possible." Sun 11 silently pondered and wryly smiled. "When I reached the ascendant stage, I barely made it through due to sheer luck. I really don't have the courage to go through that life and death trial again." Thinking about the life and death trial of reaching the ascendant stage, Wang Lin let out a sigh and said, "I am unable to help you reach the ascendant stage. At most, because your comprehension is still there, I can help you reach the soul transformation stage. However, this will require a rank 8 cultivation pill, and your cultivation will forever stop without any possibility of increasing." Back then on planet Suzaku, Red Butterfly caught the attention of the country of Suzaku, so Shuiyu was promoted to a rank 5 cultivation country. The sect master was raised directly from the soul formation stage to the soul transformation stage using a similar method, but he would never progress anymore in his life. At this moment, Wang Lin had a rank 8 pill. Under his control, he could make it so Sun 11 could withstand the effect of the pill. Sun 11 clenched his teeth and said, with determination, "Brother Shu, I choose the latter option." Wang Lin didn't say any more. He raised his hand and pointed at the sky. The sky suddenly darkened and the Underworld river appeared and wrapped around the world. To increase Sun Shi's cultivation level, a lot of spiritual energy was required. Wang Lin wasn't able to do this by himself. He had to use his own Tao as a way of controlling the spiritual energy in the heavens and earth. The Underworld river extended, and after Wang Lin's Tao intent entered it, the whole planet seemed to tremble. The broken spirit veins under the earth all began to gather. Wang Lin softly said, "The third ability of the Underworld river, the might of the Underworld." A rumble came out from the Underworld river, and at the same time, a powerful suction force came out from it as well. The entire planet shook as spiritual energy from the broken spirit vein was pulled out. It flew out from under the earth like dragons and was absorbed by the Underworld river. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he grabbed Sun 11. He threw Sun 11 into the Underworld river and shouted, "Close your eyes and cultivate." Inside the Underworld river, Sun 11 heard bursts of mournful cries that caused his mind to tremble. He quickly closed his eyes and focused on cultivating. Rich spiritual energy entered his body like crazy. Shortly after, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and took out a rank 8 pill. He crushed the wax around the pill and rich smell of medicine immediately came from it. He threw the pill into the Underworld river. Halfway in, the pill turned into green gas and merged with the Underworld river. 3 days later, a laughter came from inside Wang Lin's Underworld river. Sun 11 opened his eyes and there was a flash of light. His body flickered as he stepped out from the Underworld river. He stared at his own hands and his divine sense scanned his body. Excitement immediately filled his face. He took a deep breath and a sense of joy filled his whole body. He deeply bowed to Wang Lin and said, "I'm forever grateful for Brother Shu's help." During these days, Wang Lin continued to use the Underworld river. Now that Sun 11 had stepped out, the Underworld river disappeared. He calmly said, "Your cultivation has recovered to mid-stage of soul transformation, but this is the limit. You don't have to thank me, it is merely duty." After he finished speaking, Wang Lin raised his head. Looking up at the sky, he softly said, "I'll leave matters here to you. Settle the descendants of the three families and wait for my return. Wang Lin took a step forward and charged into the sky. The atmosphere wasn't able to stop Wang Lin. He was like a meteor as he rushed through and penetrated the planet ceiling formation as well. The star compass turned into a ray of silver light that led him toward Planet Thousand Illusion. Planet Thousand Illusion was clearly marked on the Jade Sun 11 had given him before. The silver light streak across the stars carrying a powerful killing intent locked onto Planet Thousand Illusion. Wang Lin sat down in the lotus position inside the silver light. During the 3 days Sun 11 was cultivating, Wang Lin put that crazy plan into action. His eyes were extremely cold as he looked ahead. The Juan family has been on Planet Thousand Illusion for many years. Its power is extremely complex and deeply rooted. However, I don't believe that there are many people in the family at the second step. I'm afraid that there is only one person at the moment. After all, second step cultivators are simply too scarce. If this Juan family ancestor is dead set on protecting Liu Mai, he will definitely have help. After all, the Juan family is only one of the powers on Planet Thousand Illusion. On Planet Thousand Illusion, the Juan family's ancestor had already sent out a command for all direct family members to gather at the southern part of the planet and didn't allow them to leave. In addition, he had opened the Juan family's protection formation that covered the southern part of the planet in a protective light screen. However, there were too many Juan family members, so they couldn't all be called back in a short period of time. The Juan family's ancestor was anxious, so he sent out a large amount of senior cultivators from the family to bring them back to the family's headquarters. There was a total of 3 large cultivation families on Planet Thousand Illusion. They were Chen, Juan, and Shu. Among the 3 families, the Chen family was the largest, the Juan family second, and the Shu family last. The Chen family had a total of 3 cultivators in the second step. With this huge power, they were the overlords of Planet Thousand Illusion, holding the northern and eastern regions. As for the Juan family, they had a total of 2 cultivators in the second step. One of them had died thousands of years ago during an opening of the Thunder Celestial Realm. The other was the current Ancestor. In terms of strength, the Juan family was no longer powerful enough to be ranked second in Planet Thousand Illusion. However, the lineage of their family could be traced back to a celestial of the Thunder Celestial Realm. Rumor has it that countless years ago, before the Thunder Celestial Realm collapsed, the Celestial had left an inheritance celestial treasure and a family protection jade in the family's headquarters. That jade contained a spell from the Celestial. As a result, this allowed the Juan family to keep their position even though one of their ancestors had been gone for thousands of years. As for the Shu family, their own mysterious nature kept the other 2 families in fear. All kinds of clues pointed to the fact that the Shu family had relation with the famous Shu family on planet Dong-Lin. The prestige of planet Dong-Lin was too great, so the Shu family became a well-deserved third force on Planet Thousand Illusion. Fortunately, this Shu family was really low-key and normally never participated in matters related to the planet. This allowed the 3 forces to exist in harmony, and they rarely conflicted with each other. On this day, one of the 3 ancestors who had reached the second step in the Chen family, an old man at the yin and yang stage, left the Chen family's headquarters and charged directly into the stars. His target was Wang Lin. Chen Kuizi was one of the Chen family's 3 ancestors. He had cultivated for more than 10,000 years and was friends with the Juan family's ancestor in their youth, so their relation was close. He rode a ray of light out of Planet Thousand Illusion. He sat among the stars as he coldly looked into the distance, waiting. He was not representing the Chen family on this trip but privately helping the Juan family's ancestor. However, he wasn't helping for free, as he had his eyes on one of the Juan family's treasures. I only have to kill that daring junior and I'll be able to obtain that treasure. There are too many problems with this, that Juan Xuqing has always been stingy, yet this time he is so generous. Chen Kuizi looked like he was about 40 years old. There not a single white hair on his head and he looked very handsome. The white robes he was wearing gave him the air of a celestial. This arrogant junior might turn out to be very difficult to handle. That terrifying sword energy that appeared in the Juan family before is very likely related to this junior. I can't be impulsive in this matter. When that junior arrives, I have to observe carefully. If I can act, then I won't mind killing in exchange for the treasure. If I can't, then there is no reason to plant the seed of disaster for a treasure. After Chen Kuizi made up his mind, he closed his eyes and remained motionless among the stars. Several days later, a ray of silver light came toward the planet like a meteor. Sitting on the silver light, Wang Lin coldly gazed at the distant planet Thousand Illusion that was giving off various brilliant lights. He had come with killing intent, and anyone who dared to block him would be his enemy. As the silver light rushed across space, Chen Kuizi opened his eyes and calmly looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin also saw Chen Kuizi. His pupils shrank slightly and became cold. He indeed has helpers. Incomer, stop. Chen Kuizi's voice was faint at first, but it was like a spell that quickly spread like a bolt of thunder. Wang Lin's gaze became cold as he looked at Chen Kuizi. Words that carry laws. The silver light from Wang Lin's star compass seemed dim from the pressure of these words. Naturally, he couldn't see through this person's cultivation with his own divine sense. However, with the fusion of the Celestial Guard, he could easily tell that this person was at the illusory yin of the yin and yang stage. Although the Celestial Guard puppet is also at the illusory yin stage, it can't compare to a real cultivator at that stage. Wang Lin knew of the Celestial Guard's weakness. However, due to having spells unique to it, it wasn't weak either. Chen Kuizi's eyes were calm as he slowly said, "Did you come because of the Juan family?" His tone was filled with a bit of disdain. Wang Lin stood on the star compass as he stared at the man and coldly said, "Exactly. Such a young age and already talking about wiping out a family. Has your elder not taught you at all? Tell me your elder's name, perhaps they will be an acquaintance of mine and you can avoid being killed." Chen Kuizi looked at Wang Lin and carefully observed him. In his view, there was nothing strange about this child. This child's cultivation level was also very low, not even at the mid-stage of Ascendant. As Chen Kuizi's eyes fell on the shadow under Wang Lin's feet, his eyes narrowed. Illusory yin puppet. Although Chen Kuizi's gaze was calm, he gasped in his heart. What kind of family would be so generous as to refine a powerful cultivator in the yin and yang stage into a puppet to gift to a junior? This is simply too terrifying. As Chen Kuizi stared at the shadow under Wang Lin, his eyes revealed a trace of greed. Wang Lin's gaze was cold as he calmly said, "Senior, this is a personal grudge between me and the Juan family. Please don't get involved." Chen Kuizi struggled in his heart. On one hand, he wanted this puppet, but on the other, he was afraid of this person's family background. Eventually, the greed won over his rationality. In his view, the price of an illusory yin puppet was simply too great. After all, he was acting for the Juan family. Ignoring how long it will take for this junior's family to find out about this matter, even when they do find out, he could still blame it on the Juan family. With the Chen and Juan families together, even another family would have to carefully consider whether or not to fight. Chen Kuizi's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "Hand over your puppet and this old man will not get involved in his matter." Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. He still had 2 rays of Ling Qianho's sword energy left. Before he entered the Tide Abyss, he had 2 rays. Then he used one to help the ancient demon and gained 2 more inside the Tide Abyss for a total of 3 rays. The shadow under Wang Lin's feet flickered and the Celestial Guard appeared. A hint of battle intent flashed across its eyes as it stared at Chen Kuizi. Wang Lin let out a shout. "Kill!" The Celestial Guard's eyes lit up brightly and it took a step forward. At the same time, both of its hands moved and tore open several cracks in space. Chen Kuizi's pupils suddenly shrank, but he didn't get up and remained sitting. His right hand formed seals before him and he began to mutter. He then spat out rune after rune and immediately became surrounded by them. Each of these runes gave off a powerful aura, and they quickly closed in on the Celestial Guard. The Celestial Guard was made by Celestial Emperor Chen Lin with the intention of imitating an ancient god, so most of its abilities were displayed in the power of its body. At this moment, the Celestial Guard's hand formed a seal and a burst of golden light appeared in his hand. Soon, the golden light surrounded his whole body and he became a golden man. He took a step forward and threw a punch. This punch created a series of sonic booms among the stars. Countless cracks also appeared, and the punch caused all the runes in its path to collapse. Chen Kuizi's eyes revealed a strange light and he smiled. It is even a puppet that focused on body refining. This old man will definitely have this puppet. After that, he changed the chant. This time the chant became more forceful, sounding like pieces of metal hitting each other. In an instant, all of the runes released bolts of lightning. In the blink of an eye, the runes turned into tens of thousands of bolts of lightning and bolted toward the Celestial Guard. These lightning bolts seemed to attract each other and link together. It was as if the lightning net intended to light up space itself as it descended on the Celestial Guard. Still standing on the star compass, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He slapped his bag of holding and the god-slaying war chariot flew out. It transformed into the Thunderbeast, let out a roar, and fiercely charged out. The moment the roar came out, all the tens of thousands of lightning bolts paused. While Chen Kuizi was startled, all of the lightning left the runes and gathered toward the Thunderbeast before being devoured. The Thunderbeast's body suddenly increased 1-fold. It let out a full burp and its eyes filled with lightning bolts. This is Thunderbeast. Chen Kuizi suddenly stood up, and his expression changed greatly. He stared at the Thunderbeast and gasped. That's right, this is why you have such fierce sword energy and an illusory yin puppet. It's because you are someone from the Thunder Celestial Temple. Chen Kuizi sucked in a breath of cold air. He immediately withdrew all the runes and his heart no longer coveted the puppet. Chen Kuizi's expression was pale and he quickly said, "Little friend, please forgive me, this old man was reckless. It's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding." He no longer had the attitude of a powerful cultivator. "I actually tried to rob something from the Thunder Celestial Temple, this really is." Chen Kuizi's face was filled with bitterness. He could provoke any family in the all-heaven star system, but he won't dare to provoke the Thunder Celestial Temple. He didn't even dare to show the smallest amount of disrespect toward the Thunder Celestial Temple. To him, the three words, Thunder Celestial Temple, were an existence that could never be provoked. Originally, with his cultivation level and mental strength, he wouldn't believe so firmly that Wang Lin was someone from the Thunder Celestial Temple. In the end, what made him so confident was the Thunderbeast. Only the Thunder Celestial Temple had Thunderbeasts, and that was almost a dead-set law. Likewise, a Thunderbeast was the symbol of a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple. Chen Kuizi had cultivated for 10,000 years, but he had never heard of anyone not from the Thunder Celestial Temple with a Thunderbeast. Thunderbeast was something only a person from the Thunder Celestial Temple could have. This had become an eternal truth in his mind. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all as he stared at Chen Kuizi and calmly said, "A misunderstanding?" Chen Kuizi bitterly smiled, but he felt anger in his heart. With his cultivation, even after finding out that this child was from the Thunder Celestial Temple, he wouldn't be speaking like this. Normally, he only spoke like this when he was facing someone who was at the step second as well. However, right now he was the first to provoke the other party, and he had tried to steal from someone from the Thunder Celestial Temple. In his mind, this child must have some status in the Thunder Celestial Temple, or else they wouldn't have arranged an illusory yin puppet to protect him. After hesitating for a bit, Chen Kuizi wryly smiled. "Little friend, I can't help you against the Juan family because we belong to the same planet. Also, since you are from the Thunder Celestial Temple, you won't need my help anyways. But little friend, my Chen family will not participate in this matter and will cut all connections with the Juan family. I want celestial jades." Wang Lin calmly looked at Chen Kuizi. Chen Kuizi was startled and said, "Your Thunder Celestial Temple still lacks celestial jades?" "Yes, I'll give them to you." He bitterly smiled in his heart and thought that this was his punishment for being greedy. The people of the Thunder Celestial Temple couldn't be provoked. Ignoring the fact that each of them had a life-saving spell, even if he did kill this person, there wouldn't be a single place in the entire all-heaven star system for his Chen family to exist. If this person wants celestial jades, I bet he wants an extremely large amount. He didn't specify how many, so he must want me to decide myself, Chen clenched his teeth and took out a bag of holding. His heart bled as he threw the bag at Wang Lin before turning around and flying back to Planet Thousand Illusion. His expression was extremely dark as he stepped into Planet Thousand Illusion. The moment he entered the planet, his divine sense spread out, surrounded the entire territory of the Juan family, and sent out a gloomy divine sense message. Huan Wuqing, you made me provoke someone from the Thunder Celestial Temple. I'll remember this. Once your family is wiped out, I'll definitely get back at you through your descendants. The Juan family's ancestor frowned inside the Juan family's ancestral home and sent out a divine message. He isn't from the Thunder Celestial Temple, he came from the Alliance star system like my adopted daughter. Bullshit. Your divine sense was there as well, didn't you see that Thunderbeast? Thunderbeast only exists in the Thunder Celestial realm and is the symbol of the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple. Chen was very angry and thought, Huan Wuqing, things have already come to this and you still try to hide it from me. I'll remember this. This video will end here.